The holographic monitor flickered with data streams as Marcus Taylor's fingers flew across the quantum interface. Sweat beaded on his forehead, dark curls clinging to his temples as he focused with an intensity that had earned him both admiration and isolation throughout his 32 years of life. The gravitational stabilizer is reaching critical alignment, he murmured, more to himself than to the astonished observers behind the safety barrier. 3, 2, 1. A pulse of blue-white energy surged through the laboratory, momentarily disrupting Earth's gravity. The small replicas of celestial bodies hovering above the central platform trembled, then stabilized in a perfect orbital dance. "My God, Taylor," breathed Director Hoffman, her normally stoic facade cracking with awe. "You've actually done it." Marcus allowed himself a brief smile. 6 years of work, of being called crazy, of sacrificing personal relationships for his obsession, vindicated in a single moment. What no one yet realized was that the gravity harmonizer wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was humanity's only hope of saving an alien world they didn't even know existed. Until today. The laboratory lights dimmed unexpectedly, and a shimmering portal materialized in the center of the room. Security personnel reached for weapons as two figures emerged, humanoid but unmistakably alien. They stood tall and elegant, with luminescent silver-blue skin that seemed to pulse with inner light. Their eyes, large and without pupils, shimmered like opals catching moonlight. Both wore fitted garments that seemed to be made of living material, shifting colors with their movements. Dr. Marcus Taylor. The taller one spoke, her voice carrying a melodic cadence that made Marcus's spine tingle. "I am Princess Kira of Astralon. This is my sister, Princess Vela." She gestured to her companion, who regarded Marcus with an intensity that made his cheeks warm. "How do you know my name?" Marcus managed, acutely aware of the security team's fingers hovering near triggers. Princess Vela stepped forward, her movements fluid like water. "We have been monitoring your work for 3 of your Earth years," she said, her voice lower and warmer than her sister's. "What you call the gravity harmonizer is the technology our world desperately needs." Kira nodded solemnly. "Our planet Astralon is being pulled toward a quantum singularity. Our scientists projected total planetary destruction within your Earth month. We had nearly lost hope until we detected your experiments." "You're saying my research can save your entire planet?" Marcus asked, disbelief warring with scientific curiosity. "Not just your research," Vela replied, moving closer until Marcus could see flecks of gold in her opalescent eyes. "You, Marcus Taylor. Only you understand this technology well enough to implement it at the scale required to save our world." Director Hoffman stepped forward protectively. "If you think you're taking one of our top scientists." "We offer fair exchange," Kira interrupted smoothly. "Knowledge of interstellar travel. Clean energy technologies beyond your current understanding. Medical advancements that would eliminate many diseases plaguing your species." Marcus felt the weight of possibility pressing on him. "How long would I be gone?" 60 Earth days, Vela answered, her gaze never leaving his face. "Enough time to save a civilization of 8 billion souls." That night, as Marcus packed his essentials, memories of his lonely apartment and empty social calendar made the decision easier. What was waiting for him here? More grants, more papers, more nights falling asleep at his desk? On Astralon, he could make a difference on a scale he'd never imagined possible. He couldn't know then how the gratitude of an alien world would pale compared to the devotion of its 2 princesses, or that saving their planet would be simpler than navigating the complicated hearts of Kira and Vela, both determined to claim the human who had become their world's greatest hero. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. The royal palace of Astralon stretched toward the twin moons, its crystalline spires capturing and refracting the ethereal light. Marcus stood on his private balcony, still adjusting to the lighter gravity and the surreal beauty of an alien world he'd helped save just 3 weeks ago. The implementation of his gravity harmonizer had been successful beyond all expectations. Massive devices, constructed with alarming speed by Astralonian engineers, now orbited their planet, creating a gravitational shield that deflected the pull of the quantum singularity. The celebration that followed had been overwhelming. Millions of citizens flooding the streets of the capital city, chanting his name in their melodic language. A soft chime indicated someone at his chamber door. "Enter," Marcus called, turning from the breathtaking view. Princess Kira glided into the room, her silver-blue skin luminous against the deep purple of her formal attire. "I hope I'm not disturbing your rest, Marcus." "Not at all," he replied, noticing how her presence made the air seem charged with a subtle energy. "I was just admiring your world." "Our scientists have prepared something special for you," she said, extending a slender hand. "Would you accompany me to the Royal Observatory?" The walk through the palace corridors gave Marcus time to appreciate Kira's regal bearing. Where her sister Vela moved with sensual fluidity, Kira possessed a graceful precision that spoke of her analytical mind and controlled emotions. The observatory dome opened as they approached, revealing not telescopes but an immersive projection system beyond anything on Earth. "We've mapped your solar system in extraordinary detail," Kira explained, her fingers dancing across a control panel. The room transformed, surrounding them with stars, planets, and cosmic phenomena in perfect three-dimensional detail. "This is incredible," Marcus whispered, reaching out to touch a passing comet, watching it react to his fingers by altering its trajectory slightly. "Your understanding of gravitational physics rivals our greatest minds," Kira said, moving closer. "Yet you grasp concepts intuitively that our scientists require complex calculations to comprehend." Her praise warmed him unexpectedly. On Earth, his intelligence had often isolated him. Here, with Kira, it created connection. Hours passed as they discussed theoretical physics, laughing over scientific jokes incomprehensible to most. When Kira's hand brushed his while demonstrating a stellar phenomenon, the contact sent a surprising current through his body. "I've never met anyone who understands me as you do," Marcus admitted as the simulation showed Earth's moon rising over his home planet. Kira's opalescent eyes studied him with intensity. "The concept of intellectual soulmates exists on Astralon. We call it mind bonding, when two beings connect through thought in ways as intimate as physical touch." "And is that what this is?" Marcus asked, suddenly aware of their proximity in the darkened observatory. Instead of answering, Kira placed her palm against his temple. A gentle warmth spread through his consciousness, and suddenly he could sense her emotions, her admiration, her gratitude, and beneath those, a growing affection that mirrored his own budding feelings. "This is just the beginning of what mind bonding can be," she whispered, her lips close enough that he could feel her breath on his skin. "If you wish to explore further." The moment shattered as the observatory doors slid open and Princess Vela appeared, her expression darkening momentarily before transforming into a brilliant smile. "There you are. The bioluminescent gardens are in full bloom tonight," she announced, her vibrant energy filling the room. "It only happens once every 7 years. You can't miss it, Marcus." Kira stepped back, her hand falling away from his temple. The connection broke, leaving Marcus feeling strangely bereft. "My sister is right," Kira said smoothly, though Marcus detected a hint of frustration in her voice. "The gardens are truly a wonder. You should experience them." She bowed slightly. "We can continue our discussion another time." As Vela took his arm to lead him away, Marcus glanced back at Kira, suddenly aware that his time on Astralon was becoming far more complicated than he had anticipated. "Keep your eyes closed," Vela instructed, her hand warm against Marcus's as she guided him through what sounded like dense foliage. The air felt different here, wilder, filled with scents he couldn't identify, but that reminded him of tropical rainforests back on Earth. "Can I look yet?" he asked, feeling slightly vulnerable with his senses limited. "Now," she whispered, releasing his hand. Marcus opened his eyes and gasped. They stood in a natural amphitheater formed by towering trees with luminous silver bark. Flowers the size of dinner plates pulsed with internal light, shifting through colors he had no names for. Overhead, vines formed a living canopy that sparkled like the night sky. "The sacred grove," Vela explained, watching his face with delight. "Unlike the formal gardens my sister undoubtedly showed you, this place exists beyond royal cultivation. Wild. Free. Like you," Marcus thought, noting how Vela's simple garment of woven fibers contrasted with Kira's formal attire. Where the elder princess embodied control and intellect, Vela was pure passion and instinct. "It's beautiful," he breathed. "The most precious experiences can't be studied in observatories," she said, a gentle challenge in her voice. "They must be felt. Come, the lake calls to us." She took his hand again, leading him deeper into the grove until they reached the shore of a small lake that glowed with bioluminescent creatures beneath its surface. "Will you swim with me?" Vela asked, already unfastening her garment. Before Marcus could respond, She dove gracefully into the water, her silver-blue skin shimmering beneath the surface. Hesitating only briefly, Marcus stripped down to his underwear and followed. The water enveloped him with unexpected warmth, and the luminescent organisms swirled around him, responding to his movements like living stars. Vela surfaced beside him, her wet hair clinging to her elegant features. On Astralon, we believe water connects all living things, she said, her voice low. When we share the sacred waters, we share our essence. As they swam, the distance between them gradually decreased until her hand found his beneath the water. Unlike Kira's mind touch, Vela's connection was physical, electric. She drew him closer until their bodies touched, the alien warmth of her skin against his creating a sensation unlike anything he'd experienced. Your kind values words, she murmured against his ear. My kind values this. She pressed her lips to his, and Marcus felt a surge of sensation that transcended the physical, a rush of emotions, memories, desires. When they finally broke apart, breathless, Marcus understood that what seemed like physical attraction was, for Vela's people, a form of communication as profound as Kira's mental connection. Later, as they lay on the shore wrapped in a thermal blanket that Vela had brought, Marcus watched the alien moons casting their light through the canopy. You're thinking of my sister, Vela said, her head resting on his chest. Marcus tensed. How did you? Your heartbeat changes when your thoughts drift to her, she explained without rancor. It's natural. She offers you the connection of minds. I offer the connection of spirits. Her finger traced patterns on his skin. On Astralon, both are valued, both are necessary. But rarely does one being inspire both in another. And what does that mean? Marcus asked quietly. Vela propped herself up to look into his eyes. It means, Marcus Taylor, that you have unintentionally created quite a dilemma for the royal household. Her smile held both mischief and genuine affection. And for yourself. As they gathered their clothes and prepared to return to the palace, Marcus realized that his scheduled departure for Earth was only 3 weeks away, and his heart was becoming as entangled as the living vines overhead. The royal council chamber fell silent as Marcus entered, flanked by 2 Astralonian guards whose ceremonial attire suggested this was no ordinary summons. The circular room, with its high ceiling depicting the planet's star system, housed a dozen high-ranking officials seated around a crescent table. At the center sat the sovereign of Astralon, mother to both princesses, her ancient eyes regarding Marcus with unreadable intensity. Marcus Taylor of Earth, she began, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. Your service to our world cannot be measured. The traditional reward for such heroism is clear in our laws, a bond with our royal house. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. He'd spent the last week alternating between Kira's intellectual sanctuary and Vela's wild adventures, each princess drawing him deeper into her world, each connection growing more profound. Traditionally, the sovereign continued, this would mean a formal union with one of my daughters. She paused, her gaze sharpening. Yet we face an unprecedented situation. Both Princess Kira and Princess Vela have expressed their desire for such a bond with you. Murmurs rippled through the council. Marcus caught sight of Kira and Vela seated on opposite sides of the chamber, neither meeting his eyes. This has created discord where there should be celebration, the sovereign stated. As your departure approaches, a decision must be made by you. Marcus felt the weight of expectation pressing down on him. With respect, Your Majesty, I never anticipated becoming so connected to your world. To either princess. I'm honored, but you need not decide at this moment, the sovereign interrupted. 3 days remain before the portal to Earth reopens. You will use this time to reflect. Both my daughters will respect your space during this period. As Marcus bowed and retreated from the chamber, he felt as though he carried the gravity of an entire world on his shoulders, not the physical weight he had saved them from, but an emotional burden far more complex. Back in his quarters, Marcus paced restlessly. Kira's mind touch had shown him intellectual horizons he'd never imagined, a partnership of equals that could advance science across 2 worlds. Their conversations left him exhilarated, their mental connection increasingly intimate. Yet Vela had awakened something primal and essential in him, a capacity for joy, for living in the moment, for experiencing rather than merely observing. Their physical connection transcended mere attraction, revealing depths of emotion he hadn't known he possessed. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Opening the door, he found a royal messenger. Dr. Taylor, Princess Kira requests your presence in the Eastern Observatory at sunset. Princess Vela requests your presence in the sacred grove at moonrise. The messenger bowed. The sovereign instructs me to remind you that the choice remains yours. Marcus closed the door, leaning against it. How could he choose? More importantly, how could he choose without causing pain to someone he'd grown to care for deeply? As dusk approached, he made his decision. He would meet with both princesses, not at their chosen locations, but on neutral ground, before making the most difficult choice of his life. He drafted 2 identical messages and summoned the royal messenger to deliver them. As the servant departed, Marcus looked out toward the horizon where Earth would be, an invisible blue dot too distant to see. Home had never felt so far away, or so irrelevant to where his heart now resided. The ancient meditation garden stood empty as Marcus waited, the planet's rings creating a celestial arch overhead. He had chosen this place, sacred to Astralonian culture yet belonging to neither princess's domain, to meet them both. Kira arrived first, her formal attire replaced by a simple blue robe that made her appear more vulnerable than he had ever seen her. You requested we both come, she said softly, no accusation in her voice. A logical approach to an emotional dilemma. Before Marcus could respond, Vela appeared from the opposite direction, wearing a similar robe in deep purple, her usual exuberance tempered by the solemnity of the moment. Sisters sharing the same heart's desire, Vela observed, nodding respectfully to Kira before turning to Marcus. Have you found your answer, Earth Hero? Marcus gestured to the stone bench. Please, sit with me. Both of you. As the 3 settled beneath the luminous sky, Marcus took a deep breath. On Earth, I was always alone. My mind set me apart, made connection difficult. Here, with you both, I've experienced what it means to be truly understood, through mind and through heart. He turned to Kira. You've shown me intellectual possibilities I never imagined, a meeting of minds so perfect it feels like coming home. Kira's eyes shimmered with emotion, but she remained silent. To Vela, he said, and you've taught me to experience life beyond thought, to feel joy in moments I would have once analyzed rather than lived. Yet you must choose, Vela whispered, her hand finding her sister's in a gesture of solidarity that surprised Marcus. That's what I wanted to discuss with you both, Marcus said carefully. On Earth, we have a single word for love, but it encompasses many forms. What I feel for each of you is profound, but different. Complementary, not competitive. Kira tilted her head. What are you suggesting, Marcus? Your mother spoke of bonding with the royal house, he said slowly. Is it possible to honor that tradition without driving a wedge between sisters who clearly care deeply for each other? The princesses exchanged a long look, some unspoken communication passing between them. In our ancient history, Kira began hesitantly, before we became a monogamous society, there were triadic bonds, rare connections between 3 beings whose energies balanced perfectly. Vela nodded. They required exceptional circumstances, a perfect harmony of mind, body, and spirit that transcended conventional bonds. The council would require proof of such harmony, Kira added, her scientific mind already analyzing possibilities. Marcus felt a surge of hope. How would we demonstrate such proof? The alignment chamber, Vela suggested, turning to her sister. It hasn't been used for generations, but it still exists in the ancient temple, Kira confirmed, excitement coloring her voice. It measures energetic compatibility at the quantum level. That night, beneath the full light of Astralon's twin moons, the 3 stood in the center of a circular chamber lined with crystals that hummed with energy. As instructed by ancient texts, they formed a triangle, hands joined, as the sovereign and council members observed from the perimeter. The chamber responded immediately, the crystals pulsing with increasing brightness. Light flowed between the 3 of them, forming complex patterns that caused the council members to murmur in astonishment. A perfect triadic resonance, the sovereign announced, her voice tinged with wonder. The first in 7 generations. As the light enveloped them, Marcus felt both princesses in his mind and heart simultaneously, Kira's brilliant intellect and Vela's passionate spirit merging with his own consciousness in a harmony so perfect it brought tears to his eyes. Later, as they stood before the portal that would allow them to travel between worlds, Marcus looked at the 2 women who had transformed his understanding of connection, of belonging, of love itself. Earth and Astralon, he said, taking one of each of their hands. 2 worlds now linked through science and through us. The beginning of a new kind of diplomacy, Kira added with a smile. And a new kind of family, Vela finished, her free hand reaching across to clasp her sister's. As they stepped toward the portal together, Marcus knew he was not leaving one home for another, but creating something entirely new, a bridge between worlds as unique as the bond they now shared.